Physicist Roger Penrose wrote something that most scientists feel but rarely say aloud. A beautiful idea has a much greater chance of being a correct idea than an ugly one. Keats put it as poetry: "Beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know." And philosophers of science have confirmed what working scientists have long intuited: aesthetic values, symmetry, simplicity, unity, elegance, are not just pleasing features of scientific theories, they are taken to be indicators of the truth of a theory. The Cayce readings arrive at the same convergence from a completely different direction. They describe something called the beauty of understanding, an aesthetic dimension of truth that extends far beyond scientific theories into the hidden structure of the soul's own journey, and they apply it in some of the most challenging circumstances human beings can face. Scientists speak of beautiful theories. Einstein described his general theory of relativity as too beautiful not to be true. The physicist Paul Dirac reportedly valued mathematical beauty above experimental confirmation. String theory has attracted researchers partly through the sheer aesthetic appeal of its mathematical structure, even before its empirical predictions could be tested. Philosopher Milena Ivanova has documented this systematically. Aesthetic values in science are not merely subjective preferences. They are epistemic criteria. They function as indicators of truth. Theories that achieve genuine insight into the deep structure of reality tend also to be beautiful. And beauty in the scientific context means something specific, what one commentator calls the hidden order beneath appearances and the inner causal logic of systems. This is the beauty of understanding, not the beauty of a pleasing surface, but the beauty of grasping how something actually works, the moment when the mechanism becomes clear, when the inner logic reveals itself, when apparent complexity resolves into elegant simplicity. The Cayce readings exemplify this aesthetic in their most characteristic mode, the revelation of hidden order in human experience. The physical readings that provided medical diagnoses often had an aesthetic quality. The precision with which anatomical and pathological relationships were described, the elegance of holistic treatment plans that addressed physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions simultaneously. The readings themselves draw attention to this quality, associating it with ultimate reality that underlies our common experiences of life. Reading a book, loving others, experiencing passion, all of which expresses a fundamental unity of the divine. Beautiful, isn't it? This is an aesthetic response to a metaphysical insight, the beauty of recognizing that the highest and lowest expressions of human experience arise from the same source, separated only by the direction of will. The inner logic of reality, once grasped, is experienced as beautiful. The readings consistently orient individuals toward this kind of understanding. A reading for a man with severe symptoms advised studying the Book of Revelation as a symbolic psychological spiritual treatise, comparing it to Gray's Anatomy with the promise that there will be a beautiful awakening. The beauty of understanding in this context is the recognition of the correspondence between the structure of the body and the structure of the soul's spiritual journey. Here is where the reading's aesthetics of truth faces its most challenging test. A 6-year-old girl was diagnosed with terminal illness. 7 physicians, 3 of them specialists at the Mayo Clinic, declared her condition incurable. Her reading addressed the karmic dimension of her condition, the soul's purpose for incarnating into this situation, and then offered something that could only be called an aesthetic reframing, the beauty of transition as applied to a dying child. This is not consolation theology. It is a philosophical claim about the aesthetic dimension of the soul's journey, that even in the most devastating circumstances, the hidden order of soul development is present and, when perceived, can be experienced as beautiful. The applied philosophy of the Cayce Readings does not soften this. It presents it as the reading's most challenging aesthetic position, that the aesthetics of truth extends into territory where ordinary beauty fails, where what is aesthetically true is not pleasant or comfortable, but where the hidden order beneath appearances, the deeper structure of the soul's reality, is nevertheless present and can be perceived. The readings consistently encourage individuals to help others understand what one reading calls the beauty of the soul and spirit forces of themselves. This is the aesthetics of truth applied directly to self-knowledge. When you genuinely understand who and what you are as a soul, your origin, your journey, your latent capacities, the karmic patterns you are working through, your relationship to the divine whole, the understanding itself is experienced as beautiful. This is the aesthetic payoff of the entire philosophical project this series has explored. Epistemology, metaphysics, ethics, and aesthetics all converge here. The truth about the soul, when genuinely grasped, is beautiful. And the beauty is not incidental. It is a sign that the truth has been reached. As one reading puts it, when such understanding is achieved, great truths resound through the life, through the whole being of the entity. See? Beautiful. Science finds truth beautiful. Philosophy aspires to it. The Cayce Readings demonstrated in over 14,000 sessions in which the hidden order of individual lives, their karmic history, their soul purposes, their latent capacities, was made visible in the beauty of understanding. The aesthetics of truth is not a peripheral concern. It is the sign that genuine insight has been reached. When the mechanism becomes clear, when the inner logic reveals itself, when complexity resolves into elegant simplicity, whether in physics or in the soul's journey, what is experienced is beauty. And that experience, the readings suggest, is not merely aesthetic pleasure, it is recognition. Think of a moment in your own life when a confusing or painful experience suddenly made sense, when you saw the pattern, understood the purpose, grasped the hidden order. Did that understanding feel beautiful? The readings would say, that is what truth feels like when you meet it.